grim anniversary for one local family. 20 years ago today, Audrey Mae Herron went missing.
Herron was a 31-year-old mother of 3 when she disappeared without a trace. She was last seen leaving her job as a part-time nurse at Columbia Greene long-term care facility in Catskill. Police haven't given up their search for her and her black 1994 Jeep.
The more I look at this, the more I feel like something bad happened to her. Today we're looking for Audrey Mae Herron, who was a nurse and worked right here behind us at the Columbia Greene Medical Center. Audrey was last seen on August 29th of 2002 when she left here at 11 p.m. to head home. She was driving a 1994 black Jeep Cherokee, license plate number X-ray 233 Uniform Victor. We're going to make it our mission today to follow any potential route she may have taken home and see if we can find her.
Families who have all but given up on finding their loved ones, this team is a last hope. Civilian divers cracking cold cases for free.
All right, so we're leaving the medical center right now where Audrey worked. We had a conversation early this morning with a lead detective. We're going to bring you into that story right now as to why we're taking these 2 routes today.
Okay, so I just got done talking to the detective, Mike, who just stopped by, and I'm really glad he did. That was really nice of him. And prior to that, I was in the RV over here studying our notes and some emails and the information that we were given prior to coming here to Catskill. And based on the information that we were given, the route that we were going to work today was going to start on 23B, which is basically Main Street, work our way up to Jerome and to 67 where she lived on. But after talking to the detective, he's got some other information that we're going to go off of to start our search. And not saying this is the only search we're going to do today, but however, this is where we're going to start. Basically, he's telling us to start on 23B to 23, then to 32 North, up to Caniff Road, and then Doman Road, and then 67, where she would have taken a left, and she lived about a quarter mile down that road. We're also going to be checking, apparently he gave us a tip on a Woodstock Dam that's on 32. And apparently he's saying that's a possibility that there's water close there that we should probably search. We're also going to be looking for any other waterways along this route, and that's where we're going to begin our search today.
So this is the main street. This is the 23B that we're taking up. And in both routes, it took us to 23B and then potentially 23. But I say, let's just stay on Main Street. Let's identify this one first. Let's run this one to Jerome. Let's then take it to 67. And if there happens to be any bodies of water, we'll knock these ones out. Then we'll circle back and we'll take a look at that other route.
Sounds good, I like it. How far do we go on this before we turn again, Jared?
So we're another quarter mile and we're going to be crossing over the Catskill Creek. So we're going to want to put eyes on it as we head across it. Right as soon as we cross over the creek, I don't know if there's any parking at it, but let's make a first left, which is where the friend from work, the co-worker on Catskill Road, that's where she said that Audrey made a left.
Okay.
So let's make that first immediate left. We'll walk back onto the bridge, take a look at the creek. What that does on this is it gets her beyond the bridge and beyond the river. So we don't believe that she's going to be an accident on a foggy night off of this bridge. And here's the bridge that we're coming up to right now. So what you have is you have a big power pole on the right. So we're not getting through the bushes here on the right and off this bridge. We also have tall, not even guardrail, and it's actually shallow. But let's go ahead and park over here. We'll walk back over and take a look at that creek. So the intersection right here, the Cattershall, this is the last known location from her coworker. It's a little unclear on whether her coworker made a left here or whether Audrey made a left here. So I'm a little confused on this one. So like I said, let's finish running 23B right now. Look for additional, like, do we have anything that's not solid, you know, rock walls where she might potentially go off into the water. But then coming back to this intersection, this is where, according to the Mike, to the detective, she could have made a left here and then made a right on 23 until she gets off again on, what was it, 32 or so?
Right.
So we have multiple routes today. But after identifying this one, there's no way that she could make it off with those telephone poles, with this big brick wall, and it's really shallow. You can see the bottom of the river here.
So I just got a text right now, and it says, "Hi Nick, this is Sonja, Audrey Mae Herron's oldest daughter. The investigator just called and informed me you guys are in Catskill looking for my mom. I just wanted to reach out and say thank you."
It's 20 years, yeah, it means a lot to him.
Yeah,
you know?
So I'm gonna respond to her. You're very welcome.
Okay. So on down the road we go. So this interchange up here this is where we go underneath, and then when it turns to the right, that's the one that turns to Jerome.
Okay. So the only section of this route that is different than the detectives is
getting on 23.
This back, basically this section behind us.
About a 3 mile stretch.
Where he was saying she would have been on this.
Correct. All right, so we're coming up to a bridge crossing up here. 32, right here. So slow down. Let's pull off up here and put eyes on it.
Okay. Now this is the spot where I think people were saying they saw something in the water, maybe.
Yeah, but I think this is also where it's like really shallow and thin.
We'll go peek at it.
What month did she go missing?
August 29th, so late summer.
So, I don't know that much about the area here. And I don't know what the river level was at that moment in time. But a few things that I am seeing here. So we have like a parking area, guardrails and barriers there.
Correct.
We need to explore this some more. We don't know the depth of this hole right now, but according to the detective this morning, like a lot of people go swimming in there.
Right.
I'm just going with it's dark and it's foggy.
Yeah, so real quick, while you're touching on that, I just want to bring our viewers up to speed real quick, just to give them a little history on what happened that night that she went missing. So apparently at 11 p.m. when she got done with her shift and she started heading home, it was extremely foggy and somewhat rainy that night. So you picture this area, sure, right now as we're looking around, it's easy to make your way around, but remember, this is the middle of the night where it's pitch black out. You've got heavy fog and some rain. So with those options involved, that plays into, there's definitely a possibility that she may have got disoriented, took a wrong turn, or didn't take a turn and ended up in a body of water.
Yeah, and so while I don't see her going off of this bridge, you know, is there anything that was weighing on her that night that, you know, we have an old parking area down here that she may have come down to think before she went home. And I'm not saying that this is the situation in this case, but some wives that work late shifts, you know, whether it was did she lose a patient recently? Did she, you know, have an issue with, you know, her spouse? We don't know this. Again, I'm just decompressing before you go home and put the key in the front door to lay down and go to bed. So what I'm seeing is this parking area over here as a potential, let me decompress right before I make it home. We need to go down there and see if there's any additional access to, do we have something on purpose? Because we can't rule that out. We don't know, you know, what was going through her head that night. You know, I don't see anything as far as a parking area getting us down here, but I do see those barricades.
Right.
And is there something on that other side? So now we have a big hole right here. We can't currently see the bottom, so we need to go explore that. We have that other area over there. Look at how it's, you know, really nice and calm, but against the far wall over there, cliffs drop off. How deep is that hole?
Right.
I don't have the answer. So I think what we need to do is, before we turn the RV around or anything, let's walk down to that, walk down to that entrance and see if this is currently an open parking area, and if any of that plays into my thought process here.
That's an old spillway or a dam? Or
this is the old dam on 32 that they were talking about. Yeah, so you have no parking areas or anything that's going to get you into this dam area here. Real pretty area though. I like this.
It is cool. Those rocks and like that.
But yeah, this part you can see the bottom. But yeah, let's identify an entrance into this parking lot sooner than later and get you off the road where it's a no parking zone. Yeah, it's definitely old and abandoned. I don't know when it
It almost looks like that's an old, maybe there was an old bridge that went across there and they've since decommissioned it. And this is a new one. Who knows what year that would have been done, but
yeah.
Like I don't even see a way to get down there.
Yeah, you have trees growing up through there and everything.
Right, so that's definitely been longer than 20 years.
Yeah, but coming back to it's not a wrong turn in the fog. This is a
deliberate stop.
I'm going to decompress or whatever.
Well, deliberate, or did somebody ditch a vehicle here?
I'm not going down the foul play route on this one yet. You know, this is right now we still have accident locations to look at.
Now look at how that guardrail's damaged down here, or is that a turn?
Yeah, that's a entrance right there. Yeah, and you have a gate up here. Anyway, I'm gonna roll this one out for now. I don't see a way for up over this guardrail. So then as we're coming back up and we're talking about this, you know, there's been instances where we've had cars flip over guardrails. Would that come into play here? I'm gonna say no, and the reason for it is because we end up on the flat surface down here that's not right next to the, hey, we have water right here, where the vehicle ended up and nobody noticed a vehicle or damage to the guardrail at that moment in time. And so right now, based upon that, for me personally, I'd not be concerned about this first hole or those other holes over there, because we don't have, you know, where Audrey could have driven her vehicle down into it on accident or on it or intentionally there. Yeah,
and then, you know, reading the stories and the information that we've been provided, because we always think of, you know, could this possibly be a self-harm scenario? I see that as highly unlikely. She had 3 daughters at home, young girls. She was married. She had just got a pay raise that day and actually made a phone call home earlier to her husband to inform him of this raise that she was really excited about. So there's a lot of things about this that when you're reading into, you're like, man, that's just, I just don't think that card is on the table. This is purely an accident that we're looking into and not a self-harm scenario.
Well, you know, and I want to go even further into that as well, because the longer these go on, there's more rumors and speculation out there. And I mean, I don't like bringing it up, I don't like addressing it, but I'm going to address it right now. In that, you know, spouses are always, you know, there's always a spotlight on them. And because of what you just brought up, I would say 100% no. The husband is not involved in this one, because we have a 2 working household. You know, they're both working. We have a fresh pay raise. She's in love with her husband. She called him to let him know she was excited about the pay raise. So in my opinion, based upon what I know at this moment in time, they seem to have a good relationship. Right. You know, you never know what happens behind closed doors, but in my opinion, husband should not be a suspect in this at all.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you.
So now we need to come back to, we're looking at an accident or unfortunate self-harm, but we're taking that off the table as well.
Right.
So now, what is that accident? Where is it at? Keep on down the road and let's see what else we can find. I wish this was it. I wish that we could give answers right here. You know, so when we start looking at a potential accident off of a bridge over a guardrail, I'm going to refer back to, Antonio Lopez, 205 bridge. He came off no more than 35 feet, 15 feet of water. This is, even if the water level's up 15 feet, it's going to hit so hard, it's going to plow in, it's not going to move, it's not going to end up in this hole. For that reason, 100%, this one is out of the question for me right now.
I agree. Let's keep looking.
Holy frick, we have 2 ponds right there on Doman Road, right off the road. There's where she's at. So we're gonna make a right up here on Caniff. Now here's what I want you to see. On Caniff, there's going to be, right here, potential in question. Now that's 30 to 40 feet, so less likely than what I found up here on Doman. So this is great information that we got from the detective because it puts me on Doman that we didn't know about. So now you come up Doman, not that one, that's too far off. Look at that. You have 2 right there off the road. Looks like it goes down.
Oh yeah.
I think she's in one of those 2 right there.
Yeah, and even though those are on the opposite side, well, let's say a deer ran in front of you, or you fell asleep at the wheel and you swerved or whatever.
Yeah.
Definitely a possibility, okay.
And then she gets to 67. So 67, she never made a left and made it home. But that is 2 absolute potential locations. All right, so let's make it right on Caniff. I wonder if this is the golf course that they had, that they used to own too. The detective was telling us that they owned a golf course before she went. I think they sold it before she had gone missing. I don't think they owned it anymore. And I'm only speculating this is the golf course in question. According to law enforcement, the detective, they'd searched these ponds. And speaking with the detective this morning as well, he watches our show quite a bit, and so he also understands, hey, unless we have searched it, we don't consider anything searched. So says that the golf course has been very cooperative in working with them. So if we rule out Doman, then I would say the golf course is right there. Let's go ahead and check those 3 ponds as well, if they let us on. In my opinion, way too far off.
I can see the bottom of it.
And you can see the bottom. So 2 reasons why we're ruling that out. One is, from the road, we can see the shallow, but also you see how you had like the big dip of the ditch, as well as the trees right there. All right, let's head up to Doman and make a left. But that's not the one we want. We want the 2 that are coming up. So the pond is sitting up higher right here. So this is not one that we would necessarily be interested in.
No.
And the trees are actually, you have a berm that you're not going for an accident on that one.
No.
All right, so slow it up right here. We just want to put eyes on both of them. Let's just walk up on them. Okay. So when we were looking at it on the map, it was still very hopeful. But now it's like 100% no.
Right.
You're just not. The only thing you have is you have a house right here.
Right.
And it's so shallow over there.
Yep.
You don't have a vehicle in there. Initially, when I was looking at it on Google Earth, it looked like it went this way, which it goes this way right here, but it doesn't show the big berm that's right there. And then what do we have up and over here? So we come up to the dam side. So same thing, and it's low and shallow to get in right there.
Yep.
Then you have a road coming in. So now if you look at the potential road access over there, and you want to go in on this side, you might have a potential deeper spot over here. But now we're looking at a, hey, this is a on purpose, or this is a foul play. But the question is, how deep is it? And you can see bottom right there. So then I would rule that part out. All right, well, let me bring the drone back. Let's walk down there and just check it out. And then if it's something we want to check out, let's go ask the landowner on it, which I'm gonna guess this is our landowner right at that house up there with the flag. Kind of really sort of interested in that one down there. Why don't the two of you head down there, put eyes on it a little bit more? I want to go talk to the homeowner.
Okay.
Get back. No. Get back here. Get out here. Okay, kick your butt.
All bark, no bite?
No, just noisy. Pain in the butt.
I'm Jared, with a search team that's working the missing persons case of Audrey Herron.
Who?
Audrey Herron.
Oh, Audrey, yeah.
Yeah.
So far from what I've seen, these are very highly unlikely, and I mean, you're not going to get a vehicle over these berms right here. You can see they're 10 feet at least above where I'm standing on this road. And so they're not in these ponds. We're gonna double check, but I just don't see how you could get a vehicle in these ponds unless you were purposely trying to, or somebody took the vehicle, drove it down a driveway and then put them in. So we'll keep working our route, and then we gotta go back. There's that one section that we still need to investigate and check out that the detective told us about this morning, slightly different route. And once we do that, we'll see if there's any more water along that route and check those areas. Yeah, I just am not seeing any possible way you're gonna get a vehicle up here. This is a dam separating two of them right here, but they're too far off the road and it'd be too much. Definitely not an accident scenario. So I can hear Jared talking to the landlord over there, getting some information probably on these ponds, but I think we move on to our next potential possibility of an accident scenario.
That's what I figured this summer, or when we used all the water out there, if there was anything there, but we were down to almost nothing.
Right. All right, yeah, I'll go talk to Jay. Thank you. So a couple of things we're looking for. One is for permission to get onto these ponds to search them. We're no longer looking at an accident location when we're looking at these two, but because it's within the 5-mile radius. You know, Audrey's home is just around the corner from here. So with that 5-mile radius, we cannot rule this out until we get in the water and we rule it out.
What'd you find out?
So the gentleman was saying that the golf course now owns both of these ponds.
Oh.
So they ran a pipe down here, and this is the first time in 15 years since this gentleman has lived here that they have had to actually pump water out of here. In doing so, this furthest pond actually was drained enough that you could almost see the bottom.
Oh, gotcha.
This other one, nobody knows how deep it is at this moment in time. So Jay is now the new golf course owner.
Oh.
So now we have a name when we go over there.
So you're thinking you want to search this pond here?
What did it look like to you?
Well, I mean, again, you'd have to get up and over this berm to get into it.
There's a back road.
Oh.
So that's what I'm interested in, is the back road coming in.
Yeah, I mean, there's vegetation, so you can't even see anything. If you want to peek up here, you can.
Yeah, where was your access to it? What I'm interested in is where the dam is at that splits the two.
Yeah, that's where we were at just now.
And then we want to head to the other side and scope out that road that's over there.
The only place I'm seeing that you get in, at least from right here, is right here.
Well, and I had the drone up on the other side too. And from the other side, you had another little ramp like this as well. So see this road up here?
Oh, there's a ramp, yeah.
Yep, so you got a road, ramp in, you have a tire. Like, what if that was a vehicle flipped upside down and it's the tire right there?
I mean,
attached to it.
The only thing I'm seeing about this that makes me not suspect anything is that unless somebody deliberately put it here, she's not gonna accidentally end up on this back road, you know what I mean?
100% correct, but now that we have made it our way all the way up to 67 and we're making a left, and the house is only a quarter mile with no other bodies of water, we need to go back and finish running the other route to see if there's anything,
Right.
you know, any bodies of water. But now we're starting at square one, home,
5 mile
radius, and now you have the entire golf course and this, and
Sure.
and you know, now you're coming back to we don't know what's going on in her
Right.
life versus an accident. Yes, we don't know how.
You know what's the weirdest thing about that is that it's, unless it's super shallow, God, I wish we could see that if it's attached to a vehicle.
Well, we're going to. We're just going to be one Chuck Wonder is what they call me. Plus, look how small the tire is. That's not a Jeep Cherokee tire. That's like a trailer.
Jeep Cherokee isn't a very big vehicle.
Yeah, it's still,
my dad used to have one.
Still, it's an SUV. That's only like a 15-inch tire. See, and it's empty.
Floating.
Yeah, and it's not very deep right there.
No.
So I would rule this one
Right,
out for that
yeah.
reason.
Okay. Well, good. Now that helped us.
I'm glad we ruled that out too, because that smells. I don't want to put any of our stuff in there.
Yeah, it looks like these two are, number one, they're shallow. They're kind of off the beaten path. So I'm gonna rule these out. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely not an accident location. So this one, in my opinion, again, not knowing what her actual routes were, would be more likely in a direct route looking at the map than the first one that we came up.
I totally agree.
So we'll take this back down to 32, then let's take 32
And then when
the
we
rest of
come
the way
back,
up
we'll-
to 67, and then we're gonna head down to another route that you could actually take off of 67 as well. We're just gonna keep hitting every single
All
one of these
these routes.
roads and put an eye on them as far as these bodies of water. So with the route that we took first was going to be the detective's route. That's the route that she would normally take. However, with it being dark and stormy night, more fog, are we looking for something that's a little wider, a little safer? That would then bring us up 32, making a right on 67, taking us back down towards her home. I don't know, this is all speculation. We just want to make sure that we rule out every route along the way. Now, once we get up in here to Freehold and we make that right on 67, what I'm really interested on is going to be right on the left. Although we have two ponds here, one on the right, one on the left, I'm more interested in the one on the left. If she would have hit a patch of ice, I don't know if there was ice or not. The fog got confused, but right now the pond on the north side of the road appears to be a little bit wider, a little bit deeper than the one on Smiley's property on the south side of the road. Now, Smiley's property is what it says. He has like an equipment, like a big farm equipment, pretty much like a big junkyard for farmers is what it appears to be from what I saw on Google Earth. So I said we'll put eyes on it and go from there. All right, so another 100 yards or so it's going to be coming up. So right here on the left, that pond there, we got that pond there, and I'm going to say no to the one over there. That one I'm interested. Just pull off right here.
And then the last question is, can we tell how deep it is? Would it make it far enough out there that it would be completely submerged
Right.
and undiscovered for the last 20 years?
Right.
And I'm gonna say no just by looking at the edge right there. Are your glasses polarized by any chance?
Yeah, I can't see nothing though with the way that's going. But you know, it could be one of these ponds to where it's dug down, 6 to 10 feet right here
Sure.
immediately. Where's the dam side of it at? It's kind of right over here, but then you have this log that's laying down
Right.
in here as well. It's not out of the question.
Let's check with Carson, see if he can see the bottom of that thing.
Okay. Yeah, I might just like 20 to 30 feet out.
I mean, if it launched to the middle, I feel like the middle is probably at most 6 feet.
Right. No, I can probably agree with you on that one. Because it didn't have like steep drop-offs like up in Kentucky and stuff like that for some of those ponds.
I mean, it's possible though. There could be a deep hole in there.
Yeah. So this right now is still on the map. We need to wait until the homeowners come home later.
41.
Yep, 41 right here.
Too shallow. I can see the bottom all the way on this side. I don't know about that side. Same.
Shallow. That limestone rock here.
Okay.
Pull over though, like see if you can find a spot that we're not in the way. Yeah, the one thing I wanted to check out was like this coming off of here, but it hits the rock right away. So nothing there. Solid.
Solid, like slate.
All right, so where does that take us now? All right, so we're here at the corner of Lake Mills. We continue
Lake
down
Mills and Craig,
Lake
yeah.
Mills. Okay, so we have another potential accident. I think it's going to be too far off the road, but we'll check one more right before we hit 23.
Oh, that one on the right side of the road as we're going that way?
Yep, off of Lake Mills.
Yeah, it is right there next to the road, though.
Yep. Now, from there, then let's work this in reverse order for kicks to cover the rest of 23 down. So let's make a left on 23. Let's take that back down into town.
Yep.
And then we'll look at another potential route coming back up.
Okay.
I also want some more additional information that we need to dig deeper into once we drop back into town and we start bringing the route back up. Did she make a left on Catskill, or did somebody else make a right on, or did her friend make a left on Catskill? All right. So let's go to 23, make a left into town.
Okay. And check
do
that
some research, so that way we can put in our mind exactly what the witness said. Who went left on that road.
And Sansi might call us back by then too. We might be able to get some new information from her as well.
Right.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, let's check this out.
But this route we've not taken, and I've heard this was our first initial route that we ended up turning off of Jerome. But this is Jerome here that came through the town. So now if we take a look at this, unlikely there, possibly likely here, that we cannot rule this out. Like, we have to put it on this one, in my opinion. We need to find out how deep that is. Yeah, because I mean, you got a tree laying down right there.
Yep.
And so these are oaks here. So these have up in here, none of them are snapped off. So the only way you're getting a vehicle in
would be this
is
one
coming right
spot
through here, and a potential, but I mean, you're like threading a needle on that one.
Right, it's pretty shallow.
So the peat moss, or whatever this peat stuff is growing on top, doesn't mean anything. What you're looking for that would rule it out would be, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Lily pads.
Right. I'm touching the bottom right there.
Right.
So it's basically 2 feet deep right there.
Yeah, and these oaks are old oaks.
How deep are you right there?
Right there, you're already at 2.5, 3. It's dropping down right there.
I mean, could you get a vehicle through there?
Yep. So now what I'm looking for is, I mean, it's been 20 years, so I mean, do you have any bark that's come off that's regrown, or bark's not gonna regrow? Bark off on that.
Right.
Well, I can't say that we can't clear this until we put a boat in.
Okay.
I don't know how deep it is right here. You're not even threading the needle there. I mean, you got room on there that you can get through there. All right, I say put a boat in.
Okay.
Let's clear this one.
Yeah, sorry about the time change. I forgot, or the time difference. I forgot about that.
Oh, no worries at all. That's no problem. So we're, as you know, we're up here in your old neck of the woods looking for your mom.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I just wanted to pick your brain a little bit and see if there was any areas of concern or any information that we haven't been given already that maybe you could provide us to help in our search today and tomorrow.
Honestly, not really. I think for me, it's always the main concern has been anything along her route home. And then I know you guys were already looking in the Hudson along Catskill there, correct? Or
it's on our list. We didn't start there, but if we were basically going to retrace her steps of the route that she potentially would have taken home that night. And then if we don't find anything today, tomorrow, we might be concentrating on the Hudson River where the Catskill meets it.
okay, yeah, the Hudson River is huge, so that's quite an undertaking.
Yeah, and I mean, there's only a few spots. We talked to the guy that owns the Riverside Marina this morning, and he said he could tell us, but he said there's really only a small number of places where a vehicle could actually make it into the Hudson River down in the Catskill area. Yes. A couple questions that I was going to ask you, just to help in our investigation. I know some of these questions may be tough for you, and I'm not meaning to be offensive in any way, but just to help us in our investigation. Your mom at the time, was she seeing anybody else? Did she have a boyfriend, or was she? From what I've read, she was married to Jeff at the time. Yeah. Is there any other, things that you might suspect out of just maybe getting lost or going off the road?
She wasn't seeing anyone else that I know of. I mean, I was only 10 at the time, so I don't know how much she would have shared with me. But there was no suspicious behavior that I noticed, or I never saw her meeting up with another guy. Okay. Nothing out of the ordinary that I noticed at that time.
Okay, and in your mind, you believe that it was an accident, that maybe she went off the road somewhere, or do you have any suspicions as to what might have happened to her?
I honestly don't really have a theory. I think that there's not enough evidence in her case for me to have a theory. I think it's pretty much a 50-50 chance. She very well could have gotten in an accident, or something like that, or someone did this to her and purposely hid her car or dumped it somewhere.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you for your cooperation. I sure appreciate it. I'm so sorry that you've had to go through this over the last 20 years, and hopefully in the next remainder of today and tomorrow that we can bring some answers to you. Even if we don't find her, we will at least get back with you and tell you the areas that we have searched, so that you can rule those out as areas that you don't have to worry about that she is not there.
Okay, that's great. That's awesome. And I want to thank all of you guys for taking on our case and doing this. It really means a lot to us. Yes, absolutely. We sure appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you. Yep, have a good day. You too. Bye-bye. All right, bye.
You just don't know until you clear it, until you know.
Two feet. Four feet, 3 feet, 3.5 feet. It's a small pond. I'm just gonna do a circle. That way we can, it's either deep enough for a car or it isn't. I mean, realistically, somebody could come out here and come in. It's probably deeper right over there, but maybe not. So we're in basically 2 feet of water right here. Super shallow. Yeah, 2 feet. However, there was something, I'm just curious. We're not deep enough to put a vehicle in. But over here, along this side, somebody could drive in and over here. Would they do that accidentally? Absolutely not. Purposefully, there's a chance. 3 foot deep. Nothing on the bottom, it's pretty smooth. And 4 feet, there's the deepest spot right there. There's one, that's probably a culvert. I'm gonna check that, but it's, again, we're not even deep enough to fit a car, but I just wanna see what this is right here. You know, there's also a chance this would have been the end of August. Maybe it was a dry year. The water level could have been even lower that time. You know, this was 20 years ago. Or it could have been way deeper. But you can't rule it out till you put either a sonar ball in to see how deep it is or put a boat on it and test it that way. So we got a 4-foot maximum depth. You aren't gonna be able to fit a vehicle in here without seeing it. So we can check this one off the list.
No dice, huh?
Nope, too shallow.
Well, I say our next location, let's head down 23, and it's gonna cross over Catskill. Let's go check that out because it's right before a dam, so it's gonna be a lot deeper of a hole, like pretty much our only deep hole that we have in the area on the actual route.
Okay.
Let's go see what it looks like right now. All right, so the issue with this is we're dealing with the interstate, good guardrails, and there's no like running off the road here in my opinion. We're dealing with fog that evening. We're not dealing with snow and ice being built up like Antonio. You have a big dam right here. So, certainly deep enough to hide if a vehicle goes off. However, we're dealing with no snow, no ramp from Department of Transportation, nothing to launch her off of here in the same way that Antonio went off of his bridge up on 205. Doesn't mean that she cannot make it off of here. But her coworker saw her just a little bit further north at that next junction up the road.
She would have already been past this bridge.
Yeah. So the only way I can bring her back to this is if for some reason, oh, I forgot something and she ended up turning around. Now, if she was on 23B, okay, and if it was her that made a left and her coworker says she would normally not make a left on that road, and then she took the highway back to go get whatever she left behind, there is that slim chance for her to end up in here coming back south on 23. Now the question is there a boat access if we wanted to clear it somewhere up the way just a little bit? And I have no cell phone service down here, so we'd have to go head back up on top to figure that out.
Okay.
That's my only thought for this one.
Yeah, I wished I knew what these bridges looked like 20 years ago. Have they done any renovations on them? Or is it just a basic?
Well, and this is where, you know, we're going to be heading back into town. We're going to have better cell phone service, or, you know, we can hook this Starlink up as well and pull up your Google Earth Pro and then go back in time.
Right.
And see, have these bridges changed at all?
Because a lot of times what they would do, this might have only been just a one single lane bridge.
Yeah.
They added this one, and when that was done, opened this one up while they redid the other side.
Yeah. So yeah, we can fire up the Starlink and take a look at that.
Okay.
Because I can't rule this out.
Right, no, I hear you.
Yeah. And the reason why we can't is because we had a 205 bridge the same height as this, and
same thing happened.
Yeah, Antonio went off of it.
He went over the concrete
barrier, up and over. Now, you know, it was we had that freak snowstorm where Department of Transportation plowed it, created a ramp, and so he went out of control and up and over. But cars have been known to flip over these barriers as well. So a foggy night could, you know, ping pong up and over.
Right.
There's always that possibility. So let's go grab some Starlink and figure it out from there.
Yeah, I'm basically looking at our notes that we have on our master spreadsheet or map, basically, and I want to go over. There's a couple different stories. Make sure we're not missing anything with, there's one story saying one of the co-workers followed her home and she turned here, and one said she was following her and she turned here. So I want to make sure we get this straight so we cover all our bases before we go out for our next search.
Yeah, we have no
Here's that
river coming in where we're going to get into that lower bridge part down here. It's impossible for us to get a boat into there.
Okay, Jared, on your map, I'm going to read you something, see if you can take a look. This gal says, I have heard there's some talk it could have been foul play, but I really think the weather was key. There was very heavy fog that night, and I believe she could have overshot her turnoff onto 32 and continued on and went onto 145, a few miles ahead in Rockefeller Lake, which is large and close to the road. To me, a very real possibility is that she could have realized this at some point and decided to go up to 67A and take that over to Freehold. This has a creek with a bridge to cross. Looking on Google Maps of this bridge, there is what looks like it could have been a vehicle on the left side about 100 feet off the bridge when you zoom in.
At the Rockefeller Lake?
Well, that's what's confusing is I read you that all in order exactly how she wrote it.
Yeah, because there's a little creek with a bridge there at Rockefeller Lake, but why would she go down past one house and two or three houses?
What she's saying here is it was a very real possibility is that she realized that she might have overshot it, went on 145 all the way up to 67A and take that over to Freehold.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out what this gal's trying to explain.
Oh, it's really easy. So she was on 23.
Yep.
Okay. The 32, she could have gone up 32.
Or she might have overshot it.
But instead, overshot, ended up taking the next exit at 145.
And then go all the way up to 67A.
Right, and then she was mentioning the Rockefeller Lake in there. But when you look at this, it's too far off to the right. You have a house there, and then the distance to make it into there is too far off.
So back to, let's say she's just continuing on this 145.
Yep.
It has a creek with a bridge to cross. Looking on Google Maps on this bridge, there is what looks like to be a vehicle on the left side about 100 feet off the bridge when you zoom in.
So you make it on 67A, the creek with the bridge, but we know that the Catskill Creek up here.
We already went over this.
Well, we haven't gone over this bridge right here, but we can certainly go up there, but you can actually see the bottom of it even on Google Earth here, so that's not deep through there at all. So we can certainly go up there.
I think we should at least put eyes on it.
Put our own eyes on it.
So keep note of that.
Yep.
That's one spot.
All right, now then while you're looking up...
Again, if you zoom in off of the bridge on 67A, an image can be seen that looks like a vehicle.
Right.
Is that the one she's talking about? Yep, okay.
Yeah, that's what she's talking about, but you're not going to see a vehicle there. What you're looking at is because you're clearly going to see it because that water is crystal clear. And so what you're going to see are those rocks, those limestone that's flat. That's what she's looking at on here.
She said about 100 feet off. Which would be, I would think.
100 feet off would be up here. So that's, that's 10 or 20.
I would say 100 feet would be about right there.
Right. Well, yeah, we can certainly take that drive back up there just to confirm and knock that off. But now, let's say that she did take that 67A. Now, so let's bring 67 back down into town just to see if we're missing any additional body of water for that route of overshooting it. This is too far off the route. And now we're back to 67, and then we still have this pond in question. But that's only if she's coming into Freehold, not going back home. You're not going to do a 90 into this pond if she's heading towards home right now.
Okay, Jared, here's the next paragraph that was in question. Okay. And this lady says she traveled west down road 23B towards home, which was about 50 miles from work. A co-worker said they were ahead of Audrey till they had to turn onto Catskill Road.
Okay, so they turned on to Catskill, not her. And that was it. So she just saw in her rear view mirror.
Correct, but there's another co-worker that was following her So I'll get to that one.
All right. So right now I have nothing bringing her back into town. I only have one hole deep in it on actual 23, but we only have fog that night. But she would have to come back into town. But I can get us down there if we had to.
I'm getting my laptop out of the rain. Okay, so I found the third note here that we should think about.
Okay.
This gal says she had just finished working her 3 to 11 p.m. shift. Her co-workers stated that they saw her leave in her vehicle at 11 p.m. One co-worker was following behind her for part of the drive when Audrey turned and began to take a different route than usual. Her co-worker assumed it was due to the rain and fog.
So where did she see her turn?
She doesn't say. That's the only info we have, is that she said she turned in an out of the ordinary place that she thought maybe it was due to because it was rainy and foggy.
So, a place she would not normally turn. So we currently know that the one coworker was in front of her, and that she at least made it to Catskill.
Correct. So it would be between there.
And so her coworker did not say she followed me onto Catskill.
Correct.
So now we're still on 23B. So let's just start working this from here again. Catskill. So we know that she made it to this location. Now her friend saw her turn on a road that she would not normally turn on. The question is, did she make a left or a right? And if she was getting nervous about the road, she had several opportunities to simply jump over to 23, which we've then gone on. But let's bring it all the way back to town here again and work anything that to the north past the Catskill. And we have the river to cross over that's currently to our north, so we have to keep that in mind. We have Scotch Rock Road, because it just kind of loops around. It could be like, oh, I got to make a right, my next right. But let's keep that one in mind. And then how do we tie back? I need to tie us back in to, okay, look, that could potentially be our road right there, the Warrenstein. So we turn at the church.
Uh-huh.
Because that ties into, normally she would take the Jerome that ties into Lake Mills Road. But if you look at this, so this is that intersection right here that then continues up Lake Mills, that then ties into 67 up here. So that one is absolutely in play, and we're right along the river there. I really like that one there. Both of these locations.
Okay.
So we have 3 main locations to go check before it gets dark tonight.
Okay.
All right, I'll lead you. All right, so the river is actually that far away, so.
We've ruled that out.
Well, actually the river gets closer up here, so yeah. All right.
Too shallow.
So right here, we have way too shallow.
You can see the bottom all the way across.
Yeah. All right, so let's head up to the church.
Where the church is, yeah.
All right, so next right, over the bridge.
Sandy Plains.
I want a deep hole up here is what I want, and it doesn't look like there is one.
I know.
But let's pull into here anyway.
The more I look at this, the more I feel like something bad happened to her.
So we got a quarter of a mile to half a mile there, Nick. But it all looks shallow.
What we need this thing to do is go from 150 feet wide down to like 30 feet wide, then we might have deep enough hole.
Right.
Because even right there, it's only, I would say 3 feet at the very maximum.
Yeah, it's the same all the way across. What I was hoping for, like I said,
and it's super clear water. Even if it was deep enough to put a car in right there, you might even be able to see it all the way.
Yeah, you're gonna see 50 feet deep in this. So then our next hope for this, we end up with less water the further up we go. But if we do get lucky, when we head up this road further, we're gonna make a left on that mire, and we might end up with another deep hole up there. So
okay,
let's
go check it out.
Get you backed up into the road and go check it out for sure.
Now we're gonna get closer to the river a little bit here.
Yeah, so you actually have a guardrail that's up here, and that's what I'm really interested in. hey, how long is the guardrail been there?
Right.
Is there any spot you can get through that doesn't have all these big oaks? So now this is what I want to pay attention to, like absolutely there.
And how deep is it? You can see
Absolutely here.
it's about 6 inches deep most of the way.
On this side?
Yeah.
On the other side.
I'll check it real quick. Yeah, shallow. You can see the bottom all the way across. It's only like a foot, maybe 2 feet at the most. Well, that concludes day one in our search for Audrey Herron here in Catskill, New York. We did not find her today. However, we did accomplish a lot. We covered a lot of ground. We followed the 2 potential routes that she would have taken home and all the waterways along that route, places along the Catskill Creek and a lot of ponds in the local areas. Tomorrow, first thing, we're going to go to that one pond that's across from Smiley's equipment. We did get permission today from the landowner to go in there and search, even though it has been searched multiple times by divers that have been out here for the same thing. We did explain to him that until we've searched it to our standards, it has not been searched. So we're going to do that first thing in the morning, and then we got a tip and we're going to meet up with a former law enforcement agent from the area, and he's got some info for us. Apparently, he spotted Audrey the night she disappeared at an intersection, and he's going to tell us all about that. He remembers the license plate, her vehicle, and exactly where that happened, and tomorrow that's where we're going to get started. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, and thank you so much for watching our videos. We appreciate everything you've done for us. That's how we make this all possible to help all these families all across the country.
Still no answers for the family of Audrey Mae Herron.
We're meeting with a former law enforcement agent of the area. He saw Audrey the night she disappeared.
To the day that I die, I firmly believe that was a Russian mob deal.
Police telling me today that while they don't have any new updates, the case remains open and is still active.